The plays. Hey guys, it's Demoman. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Druid and how to play it in High Roller. I'm also going to do live commentary of a full game that I played, talk you through my thought process, but before we get started, I want to go over gear, stat priorities, and things that you should care about. So the main priority is obviously strength. The second priority would be either dexterity or vigor, depending on what's available to you, what your budget looks like. I don't really care about my weapons. With my spear, the things that I care about, max health bonus. I also care about buff duration. Buff duration is actually really good on druids for a multitude of reasons. It allows you to get more value out of your heals, more time to use your dream fires. It makes your protection pots last longer, which is extremely valuable as a bear, because oftentimes as a bear people kite you out. They make the fight last longer. If you're running Force of Nature, it allows it to more uptime on that with your heal pots. So buff duration's pretty good. I don't have any on this build, but it is something. Don't be afraid to buy it. It is cheap. Things I care about. Cyclops Vision Crystal is super important because of the 2 knowledge on it, and then I also shop for it with additional memory capacity. If I don't have enough then, on my primary weapon I'll also add that additional memory capacity. That'll give me 4 memory capacity, which is often all that you need as a druid. I just happen to have some on my chest here, so I just have some random Morningstar in case I happen to have to hit somebody with it. Sometimes I'm stuffing a mage so that he can't fireball me, and I'm just trying to melee the mage to death. But you know, it's pretty rare that I'm actually pulling these weapons out in PvP other than casting, or if I'm face checking a door. So having this stuff on me is quality of life. But the vision crystal is so important, guys. On the gear here, main stat priority or main trait, action speed. Action speed, action speed, action speed, man. That's my bread and butter. As a bear, your attack speed and your action speed matter dramatically. It allows you to clean up fights a lot faster. I believe it in so much that I run the Elkwood gloves occasionally. That gives you vigor, that gives you dex. The Grim Smiles, if you're not looking for extra vigor, if you're looking for strength, just get legendary Rings of Courage. But I like, typically in High Roller, I like having a little bit more health. The way I think about it is my bear is going to very often 2-tap most builds. As long as I can 2-tap most builds, I'm doing all right. If it's something slower, like a cleric that's in full PDR, I'm going to take 3, sometimes even 4 hits to kill them. It would take a lot to take one of those hits off. Think about how hard I'm hitting, guys. I'm hitting for like 100 damage a swing most of the time. Sometimes, you know, on the target dummy, I'm hitting for around 200. So it would take a lot of extra damage, a lot of extra strength to reduce the TTK on those people. So the attack speed, you actually, in my opinion, get more value out of it. And when you're shopping around, another pro tip here, the Elkwood stuff is often really cheap. I have an Elkwood here. So like action speed, right? This has 4 knowledge, 4 memory, 2 memory capacity. Now I don't need the vision crystal because I've got this roll here. I mean, this Elkwood crown, these gloves, they're like 150, 200 gold a pop. People sleep on them, guys. And when you're thinking about what slot you're replacing, straw hats, like legendary straw hats, are so expensive. So if you can replace that and get the stats you need elsewhere, don't sleep on the Elkwood crowns, guys. They're really powerful, really good. But we care about strength, we care about health, we care about dexterity and action speed. Everything else can kind of go by the wayside. If you are like actually min-maxing for like traits, make sure you're looking for bonus power most of the time. Physical power is okay, but you want max health bonus. You want attack damage bonus, because when you go into bear form, everything scales much higher. Think about it this way. You're the hardest hitting thing in the game, period, and you have the most health in the game, period. So bonuses, when applied over a large stat pool, go farther than just like 1 true damage, if that makes sense. So look for bonus gear. So let's jump into the live commentary. I'm going to add those extra clips at the end, so feel free to check the description. But yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble. All right, guys, jumping into the game. So we load in. I hate this spawn. One pro tip about this module is if you end up going east, you can actually go through the water as a rat without getting slowed. I think we see that later in this round here. So I'm ratting through the module. You got to be careful jumping through the door on the left because there is typically a mob in there and you're in really tight quarters. So if you can't transform back into a human quickly, there's the potential to die if you go straight west here. I push through this module because I really like pushing the person in the southwest corner. My most recent strategy that I've come up with for spawn rushing is I push to a corner. This game loves spawning people in the corners of the map, so if you can push to a corner quickly, more often than not you'll find somebody that you can gank or kill. Oftentimes you'll catch them before they can even react. Do not be afraid to PvE in bear form. You should be doing most of your damage in bear form. When it comes to projectiles, sometimes you can dodge as a bear. Never try to dodge as a panther. A bunch of people left comments like, oh, turn your head. You gotta turn your head because your tail lags. It's not worth it, guys. Just go into human form most of the time. That will solve all of your problems. So took quite a bit of damage here, so I'm rolling some heal pots because I don't know which way this guy went, whether or not he went east or if he went north. This is the mob that I was talking about. You can see it's a ranged mob. It's a bola. Sometimes those guys just whip them at you right away. So if you fly through the window as a rat, there's a chance that you get gibbed. An alternative route that I like to run, and I don't know why I didn't do it here, is go to the basically where I'm at now, but instead go north instead of going west, and then you can cut this person off because most players, when they spawn in the southwest corner, will push north, so you can cut them off and you can do your chicken jump across the water there and catch people really off guard, especially if they go through pots. You can turn into a rat and come up underneath them. So I'm just clearing PvE. I know that if it's a warlock or somebody like that, I'm gonna need this space so that I can kite back through it. I do a quick check of the spawn. Looks like they pushed through, they've been clearing mobs, and I see the door open at the end of the hall, which is a really good indicator that they're out of here already. So I'm sneaking. Oftentimes, right after the start of the game, you'll catch people. Dude has no idea. Assassin bear! Yeah, you can hear me. I get really excited. You know you're a bad rogue if you get... Assassin bear! Yeah, I'm just talking to myself at this point. Yeah, so you know you're a trash fucking rogue if you get jumped by somebody else. That's not a rogue. Yeah, I was pretty happy about that kill. You know, it always feels good killing rogues. So I don't really want to clear all those mobs. The route I like to take over here is going north. Oh fuck! I mess up my jump, which, God man, you'd think with the amount of time I have on Druid, I'd never mess it up. Yeah, so don't be afraid to PvE as a bear. Your right click does way more damage than your left click or anything kind of melee that you can do. So just keep PvEing as a bear. Anytime I'm around 50% HP, I like to use a Mending Grove. I try not to go under... I try to not use more than one. I need to have one in the pocket for PvP in case I need a reset. But for the sake of like positioning, being able to clear a little bit more module space in case I need to kite, I just throw one out there. Okay, so we have a couple mobs here. Make sure that you're always strafing, even in rat form, even in cat form, whatever, you're always strafing the mobs at range. Pretty surface level advice, if I do say so myself. Okay, we clear these mobs. If you do get hit by a goblin and you do have poison on you, you know, pretty obvious, don't go rat form, but sit in bear form for a second. Let that tick off and fall off of you because you take a lot less damage in bear form just in general because your health was more than basically doubled. So you can imagine it as if you're in bear form and you get hit by something, your HP is halved. Or I'm sorry, the damage you take is halved, just in general. Not to mention the extra mitigations you get physically. So we clear these mobs. You always got to be careful with mages in case they're the nightmare variants. If they are, I just drop a treant on them and then I try to bear them to death. Nightmare mages are probably the highest player killer in Goblin Cave in High Roller. So I see this barbarian over here. I know he's kind of sizing me up. I get a small heal rolling on myself. The restore, he's pushing in, so I pop my epic protection pot because I know that he's going to want to try and box it out. I go into cat form here to try and bait an axe because I can dodge better as a cat. He whiffs the first one. I fake it, and he whiffs the second one. He goes into Bardiche. I get cut it really close there. If I got hit in cat form, there's a good chance I would have died there. Ha! Yep. That reaction, Bardiche meta get fucked. That reaction was genuine, guys. It was a very close match, but that was a, you'll see here in a second, a pretty geared Barbarian running the most meta weapon right now, the Bardiche, which is the hardest hitting weapon in the game, and he hit me 3 times, and I'm still alive. So this build, bears are Barbarian killers, man. Barbarians like that don't know how to fight against the Druid, that just W key in, they will make you rich. I love Barbarians. I love seeing Barbarians. Barbarians, oh man, most of them are Oonga Boonga dead because they just don't have a fucking brainstem. So I'm getting a quick campfire in here in case I get third-partied. I want to have those spell slots back that I used in the first 2 fights. And I'm doing a quick organization because I know I'm about to loot this guy, and I want to have some space so I can quickly hoover some loot. Ooh, look at that. We got Ruby Silver, we got Grim Smiles. Snag those Grim Smiles real quick. Bardages are typically worth quite a bit right now, but they just take up so much inventory space, I don't even think I go for it. Brave Hunter is probably not worth the space. They're about 500 gold just in general, unless they have crazy rolls, and these ones had trash rolls, so I probably should have left them behind. Looks like this guy had already killed another player. By the looks of it, it may have been a fighter or a cleric. Not really sure. I get pushed here by this warlock. I don't have enough time to continue the loot, so I pop the protection pot because I know he's going to try and put a dot on me, and if I need to go rat, I want to have the protection pot on me so I can do that. So I take additional damage as a Panther here. Do not be afraid to run around with a curse on you as Panther. Yes, you take a little bit more damage, but the warlock has movement speed on his side if you're both playing as a human. And right now my goal for this fight was to reset situationally, get it on my side. I want this guy to think that he has to push through this choke here, so he does, he commits. Of course, he puts himself in a bad spot, he panics, Phantomize. This is why people hate Warlocks, man. He makes a terrible play and just gets a nice free reset out of it. So I take the time to get heals rolling on myself. I want to keep myself topped up. You got to be careful with how long fights go against Warlocks. Warlocks, the way they win fights, which is another reason people hate them, is they just drain your resources by staggering things out and taking forever. He pushes through into a very tough situation for him to live in. He does get the parry, and he lands a hit. So I go into the defensive and I try to kite out and get away from him. I go into cat to get the little additional movement speed. I can hear this guy right on my tail. So I go cat form to get underneath this zombie, body block with it a little bit, and I'm trying to hide under the water and obscure my path. I'm taking the most direct route possible. I know that he jumped down to follow me, so I'm just going to kite through the area that I know is clear because I cleared it already. Take the time to shut doors on Warlocks. It's longer for them to get through it than you because they have to slow themselves down to cast. And this guy, even though I'm a Druid and I'm fast as fuck, he is stays on my ass for quite a while. So I'm closing these doors here. I want him to waste his health. I want him to waste his time. And I'm in cat form when I'm traveling, just in case I get hit by a bolt. But in reality, I should have been in cat form, or sorry, in rat form here when I'm not in immediate danger because it is a little bit additional movement speed. I think about surge kitting right here, and I'm like, nah, man, like he's too close. He's right behind me. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel this. I'm going to go rat form. And like I talked about earlier, you can go through the muck there without getting slowed. Super powerful for Druid. So I don't want to deal with any mobs right now. I've jumped through here, almost get hit. A little bit nervous here. I'm just looking for this door over here. Jump through, and I get my nice reset in. These new surge kit times, man, they're probably too fast. But it is what it is. So you can hear him still trying to catch up to me. And with the amount of resources that I have left, the spells that I have left, I really don't want to take that fight against the Warlock. In hindsight, when I did my double right click as Bear, when he pulled out his longsword, that was a total misplay on my part.
That guy took piece through his fucking gear.
Yep. So I talked to myself a little bit and just mentioned, like, what would be the point, right? I've already gotten a full inventory worth of loot off of other players. Even if I kill that guy, I'd have to piece apart his set, and it wouldn't be worth the risk, especially since Warlock is one of my biggest counters, or one of Druid's biggest counters. So I just kited out. I look for a new exit. I do a little bit of PvE, when you have some downtime with your character and you're not in immediate PvP, don't be afraid to clear some PvE out. Don't be afraid to hit boxes with your bear. It's a little bit noisy, a little bit cumbersome, gives your position away a little bit, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're doing high roller. If you care about your rank, you want to push for demi, you got to be efficient the whole time. And you know, this isn't a demigod, rank pushing video where I'm going to teach you all about the ins and outs of like what treasure to take out, because at the end of the day, in high roller, PvP is inefficient and you shouldn't be doing it. But who cares? I want to clap some people, right? All right. So in this next clip or bonus clip here, I've got a couple for you guys. We're going to be fighting a Bis fighter, somebody who's got pretty good gear in every slot. So I immediately look to change into a bear. I hit him with a really powerful right click that puts him immediately on the back foot. He sprints it out, pops second wind, and you can see a good fighter will try to zone you out. He knows in cat form I'm scared to take damage. I can't really push into this area with bear, so he just zones me out for the duration of his second wind. Good on him. So I take the time to get some heals rolling, get a treant on my side that he has to worry about in addition, and then I start bullying him again. He puts up his parry. Anytime you see a fighter putting up their parry, unlike I did against the Warlock earlier, you should be left-clicking these guys. I end up getting a really powerful right-click here, and then I left-click, and he goes down. Be very careful right-clicking on somebody with a longsword. They will take off a ton of your health, as shown previous in the video. But quickly, you can see the gear, see the loot. People like seeing that stuff. Legendary longsword. We love it. We love to see it. Some crazy ass Lightfoot boots. And yeah, that's the fighter. All right, next up is a cleric. I finished clearing the PvE in the room so that it doesn't accidentally hit me and stop me from attacking, which would be detrimental. Pop a protection pot and go into bear. He tries to commit and gets some blocks in with the shield, and this guy is the main reason I went and bought more action speed, because I was tired of that shield blocking me. I go into Panther to try and maybe stop that silence. He changes around, so I go into bear. The main thing here is don't get hit outside of bear form. If you get hit as a Panther, it turns the fight in his favor. So even if it's magic damage, don't be afraid to soak it as a bear. Maintain the high ground here. He's playing the ladder and the low ground, which I feel is a kind of a misplay here. But he's cutting through doorways, which is really, really bad for us. We want the fight to be away from the door. You cannot go through the door as a bear, so you make yourself vulnerable anytime you're working with the doorway there. I don't want him to get a free health shrine, so I stay on him, and I try to silence the heal. Just be really careful. You should never really go for more than one hit as a Panther, because they will pull a weapon out, turn around, hit you, and bonk you and slow you, and if you don't have your dash, you're basically dead. So I'm just bullying the shit out of him here. I think at one point I taunt him and I say, like, give me that ruby silver, because he's panicking right now. So this guy pops his smite. I decide he's so low that I want to commit to it. Now, if you notice, after right-clicking somebody, that they're... Ooh, almost got him here. But I decided this is not worth it. He could probably kill me here, so I'm going to get a heal out, because I probably reset faster than he does. Throw a treant to block his path. That gives me time to get into bear. Right-click him. He starts running. He knows that this is a bad fight for him. He wants to try and string it out, get his resources back, and kind of reset. So if you notice, after a right-click, that they get their shield back up for another right-click, at that point, you need to stagger up your combo. And you notice a couple times in this fight that I hit him with a right click and then I left click. So if you can't get your double attack in without them blocking, you can still hit him with the huge stagger and then left click him for a good amount of damage. Don't sleep on the swipe, guys. It actually hits really hard. I have a damage spell ready at the top of the stairs. Make sure you're in bear form here. You see that I'm cutting it a little close in a couple of these fights. He pops smite, but I rolled a magic protection pot in anticipation of spite, so he gives up on that cooldown and resets. Fighting clerics is all about playing their cooldowns. Not really playing your cooldowns, playing theirs. Listening for that big M1 grand ching, and then playing around it, kiting it out when you have to or when you can. Don't ever give him free hits. Don't ever let him hit you as a Panther. Just be a dick, right? Like, play like a Druid. So I'm playing the high ground here. Anytime that somebody backs off and gives you time to reset, just be rolling pots, like hit buttons. I always tell my friends when they're learning the game, that's my go-to line is like, bro, fucking hit buttons, like play the game. Because a lot of new players have a tendency to just like stand around and not use that downtime to get value. There's so many different things you can be doing in the game. There's always something beneficial and always something productive that you can be doing as a player to better your situation. It might even just be positioning, right? So like that box right there was in my way. I anticipated it being a problem fighting as a bear there, so I just break it. Again, he's closing doors. Do not be afraid to break doors as a bear. I end up fucking it up, and I really don't want to fight with this mob on me, so I'm going to clear these spiders out. I fucking hate fighting around spiders. I think everybody can kind of agree on that front. Spider surfing has lost me a lot of money, and especially with bears, it pops you really high. So I face check it. I get punished for it, but Dreamwalk allows me to get out, no problem. Go back into human form. He's looking for a reset right now. I can tell that he's really strung out. He doesn't have many spells left. I'm in the same boat. So I break the door. I check it. I push it. He got a free health shrine here, so I'm a little bit nervous. But I'm just going to keep breaking doors. And I'm going to keep eyes on this guy for a second. Where is he? Where is he? Okay, he's far away. Come into the fight. Now, I really wish that they would allow you to unbind that right-click chicken caca, because it fucks you over so many times when you're trying to change into a bear and trying to right-click. But if you chicken right-click first, it will block all other transformations. The way you cancel it, the animation cancel for it, is attacking, which takes even more time. So, you know, they just need to get rid of that. Allow you to transform as a chicken when you're making the fucking noise. It's super, super annoying, Iron Mace. So, I've got PvE gumming me up. I talked about it a little bit before, but it's super easy in High Roller to get gummed up by the PvE. This guy ran for his reset, so I take the time to clear the PvE. Okay, now I'm nervous because I just got hit by a ranger or a fighter or something. I jump over. He's campfiring right there. I had no idea. I ratted right over his head. I turn around. I box him in. I'm getting gummed up by PvE, and again, this fighter comes into third party. I'm thinking, oh, fuck, right now it's time to Druid the fuck out of here. So I Druid through one door, roll a health pot. I listen for a second to see if anybody's following me. Pop a cheapy protection pot just to be safe, because I'm about to kill some really annoying PvE. These Bola guys are super annoying, and that slow that they apply. I see a Nightmare one on the other side of the pots. I just say, fuck this. I'm going to go a different direction. I don't really want to deal with it. So I go back in towards a room that I know should be a little bit easier to deal with. Avoid the archer. Go back to the area where I know it's clear. And kind of look for my own reset. My thought process here is, okay, that guy got his reset in. I need my reset. He's getting chased by a third party. I'm going to go rat around for a second, get my reset, and then I'll come back and look for this guy. Alright, so cutting ahead, I have got my reset in. You can see my spells are back. I'm sneaking around as a panther because I don't know where anybody is or how the fight concluded, if it did at all. So I open a door manually, and I start taking it a little bit slow. I'm face checking. I don't really know what I'm walking into here, so I want that weapon out. I go Panther because I like the silent creepy. It's not completely silent, but it's a lot sneakier, and that allows me to get situational awareness and realize that these guys are being friends. I do a quick Panther jump to get a little bit of cheeky damage in. I know that it's a 1v2, so I back out because I do not want to take that fight right this second. I'm a little bit pissed because these guys are teaming, and I hate teamers, so I just decided to be a little bit of a harasser here. For some reason I tried to do a heal, and even though Restore was queued up, Mending Grove channeled, so I canceled it, went for my Restore. I'm rolling buffs here, hoping that these guys push me. This rogue does, and we clap the fuck out of him for a very satisfying kill. He gets one tapped. I go in on the fighter here. He's looking for parries. I'm nervous about fighting a fighter that likes to parry bears, because he will. It's one of the only things a fighter can do is use a longsword against you. So I go back, I check the rogue, and lo and behold, guess whose gear he has? Yeah, my poor cleric friend that I was fighting. Really wish it was me who killed him, but nope, whatever. Killing rogues is a favorite pastime of mine, guys. So, scoop his loot. I end up having a skirmish against the fighter, but it doesn't really go anywhere, so I'm going to cut to the next clip. Alright, so in this next clip, you can see that the round has just started. I'm spawn rushing the bottom left corner like I had talked about before. And it looks like we have a warlock here. He goes demon form. I get kind of excited because I like fighting these guys. And I'll be honest here, guys. He plays this better than I do to an extent. I let him clear the mob. I'm not super interested in trying to fight him with that thing up. So I take the time to roll some buffs on myself. And again, this is what I'm talking about, where buff duration would have come into play here. because I don't get value from anything except for that little pot that I run. He takes the time to get his pods going by just zoning me out. We start trading. You watch my health bar start to melt. He does some really good weaves, but it's just not enough, guys. You do not want to get in a fight with a grizzly bear. Now, because everybody likes to see the loot, big money. Big, big money. Thanks for watching.